All right, man. Shalom, shalom. Want to make sure everything is working on this thing. Shalom, shalom. Qatar one. Survival one. Come. Right, man. Shalom, shalom. All right. If it's, sound like everything is straight on here. So, because I'm hearing a little background noise on my computer, but nonetheless, man. Hey, shalom, everybody tapping in, everybody tuning in. Just a regular day. Brother wanted to reach out, put out a good little lesson for the nation in hopes that everybody can be motivated, everybody can be inspired, and everybody can be in the spirit. You know what I'm saying? It's necessary that, uh, we continue to uplift each other in these times. You know what I'm saying? We see what's happening on a day-to-day basis. Brothers always going into the prophecies, they're always going into the deep breakdowns, the parables, the dark sayings and all that. But sometimes you just gotta, shift gears a little bit. And, in this lesson, I kind of wanted to go in about the honorable women that's not talked about enough in the scriptures. You know what I'm saying? Because we do have a lot of honorable women, you know what I'm saying? But what we see today is it's not always modesty. These things are, obscured in today's society. You know what I'm saying? It's not put out there on the forefront or put on a pedestal or put out there as an example of what women ought to be. You know what I'm saying? We know what we have, and we see it on a day-to-day basis, be it, in music, in entertainment, as movies. We see how, a lot of Eve's act in this world in Babylon, man. And Babylon has seduced the minds of many. You know what I'm saying? So, but we got to be, we got to be rebellious against this kingdom. You know what I'm saying? All of us have to. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm gonna start with this because, like I said, I wanted to put a spirit of inspiration out there and inspire, so that we can all endure. This is the book of Acts, chapter 14, and this is verse Salaki. Acts 14 and verse 22, and it reads, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of God, right? So it's only going to be through tribulation that we enter into the kingdom. It's only going to be through tribulation. So we got to fight a lot of battles, and a lot of brothers I know right now are going through battles, including myself. You know what I'm saying? Battles every day, man. Paul fought the good fight. We got plenty of examples to look through, to look to. That should be able to encourage you and uplift you and inspire you. You know what I'm saying? So every day is going to be a challenge. You know what I'm saying? So you can't have the mentality like, woe is me. You know what I'm saying? You want to have a healthy balance, but ultimately, you know what I'm saying, you want to make sure that you're moving in the spirit. And the only way you do that is if you keep fighting. You don't give up and you don't give in. So again, man, a mighty shalom to everybody tuning in. As you see in the image, I have honorable women, not talked about enough as the title. You see Hebrew Israelite women of the mighty northern and southern kingdom of Israel. So again, this is just to, kind of uplift the women. Because for one, I mean, you see a lot of Eves, especially on social media. You'll see them have the Proverbs 31 in the bio, but they don't really know, what the true attributes are of being a Proverbs 31 woman, So you'll ask them a question and, they just, it's really just for the look of it. You know what I'm saying? A lot like the scriptures talk about in Romans chapter 10. You know what I'm saying? Our people have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So, but we are seeing a changing of the guard, if you will, turning. We're seeing Eves, albeit Christian or not, or some other type of faith or understanding. Some women are stepping into the more modest, apparel. It's rare, but you are seeing it. By and large, what you are seeing is the baddies being promoted and being catapulted out there. Matter of fact, I'll start with a video. Hold on one second. Let me go ahead and let me send a video real fast. I just had it. Salakia. I could just play it off of here. But I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna try to show it on the computer. So bear with me. Bear with me real fast. And I'm gonna send it. Let's see if I can share it on the screen. So, and if everybody can see it, just give me a con in the chat, right? Because you'll have stuff like this being catapulted, right? And hold on, let me get the sound going on this. Hold on, bear with me.
Boss. So
I need to start this all over. Hold on 1 second.
Why should a man take a baddie serious?
because I pay the bills. Because I'm a boss. So how much more serious does it need to get?
You're talking about you.
I'm just saying baddies. Baddies pay the bills. All my baddies get money. Every last one of them are rich. I know what I pay these girls. They make more money than anybody in America on a 9 to 5, you got a good job. My bitches is paid. Okay. So at the end of the day, you said, why should anyone take a baddie serious? Because we pay the fucking bills.
Why should a man?
Because we pay the bills.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What if you're dealing with a man?
It doesn't matter.
Salakia. So we hear, I forget this Eve's name right here, but she's just completely going around the question of what Cam Newton is asking her. Why should a man take her, a woman seriously or a baddie seriously? And she's just, talking about money, and that's one of the issues that Eve is troubled by in the system, is that they're influenced heavily by, money, by the glamour, you know what I'm saying? And oftentimes Esau sets up Eve to be in a position to, be the head of the house, and that was all, a conquered and divide tactic that Esau used, and he was successful at it. Because now you have a lot of women who are in these positions of making money, being the breadwinner. And, with that came a lot of another spirit or multiple spirits of, one of which, I run things. I wear the pants in here. I pay all of the bills. I do this. I do that. You know what I'm saying? Which is everything but, the spirit that the Most High wanted our women to carry. So I'm gonna continue on.
First of all, I deal with Jacob, and but my baddies, I got a couple of baddies that
I'm not speaking in
no wait.
your
So my baddie Anna is dating an MLB player.
Okay,
they get money. He makes more money than her for sure. She don't give a fuck. They don't care. Baddies don't care.
But what I'm referring to is it's not necessarily about money all the time. And I think
no, you said that. No. You said what is it that makes a male?
No, I will say it again.
Okay, say it again.
Why should a man take a baddie serious?
I just told you. When they make more money and they're the boss. Cool. She's the boss. But, so he makes what I was trying to refer to is he makes more money, right?
Right.
But she's the boss.
Okay, take money out of it.
No, it was money out of it. He definitely makes more money than her. She's still running that shit.
Okay, but take financials out of it.
Okay, so
what are the qualities that a baddie may bring to the table?
She's confounded.
She's definitely more popular than him. I don't even know who the fuck he is. So if he wants,
that's mad.
Respectfully, I don't.
That's madness. Boy, oh boy, man. So that was a lot of madness coming out of that Eve's mouth. And then she was confounded just off of that alone with that take money out of it, right? Because at the end of the day, look, this is what the scripture says about that money, right? This is Acts chapter 8. We go to some of the classics on that, but the money is perishing. And day by day, this money is diminishing. You know what I'm saying? It's losing its value. It's not backed by anything these days. This is Acts chapter 8 and verse 20. But Peter said unto him, thy money perish with thee, because thou hast thought that the gift of God may be purchased with money. Thou hast neither part nor lot in this matter, for thy heart is not right in the sight of God. Repent therefore of this thy wickedness, and pray God if perhaps the thought of thine heart may be forgiven you. Right? So, I mean, your money is going to perish with you. You know, Drake had the saying in the song, you know, put my money in the grave or whatever, something like that. Can't remember the song at this point, but it was something of that magnitude, you know. Kanye as well. You know what I'm saying? I could buy my way into heaven. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think that this money puts them on the level that they're untouchable. You know what I'm saying? And that may be the case to some degree, even with the likes of P. Diddy. You know, he had all this wealth. You know what I'm saying? He thought it was going to, he was untouchable. You know what I'm saying? By and large, that's something that Esau, he has the luxury of having, you know, money on his side. You know what I'm saying? To have him be exempt from a lot of, you know, cases, you know, being charged of him being charged with things. So, but at the end of the day, Eve's mind is not right. And we see that here in the system. You know what I'm saying? So we see that here in the system. Salaki, hold on real quick. Bear with me. I don't know if the brother know that I'm live or if he's trying to get on. Bear with me. So Salaki. So again, we see what Eve's mind is like in this society. And that before I get into the mighty honorable women of the Bible, I have to go into that just because that mindset that one Eve was talking about, as you know, earlier in the video that I showed. This is Isaiah, and the stats don't lie, man. And we see how these households are when it's being ran by solely just women, right? This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 3 and verse 12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err, and destroy the way of thy paths, right? And that's what the statistics all point to. When a father is not in the household, what happens? The children are more likely to be criminals and to get arrested. The children are less likely to graduate high school or, to go to college and such things. So, I mean, that would show you in every way. I mean, everything points to a man being in the household. A man being in the household will lead to more success for the whole family. A man being taken out, you know what I'm saying, is designed to destroy the family. So Esau has definitely become successful at that. And again, we see that, man. A lot of our women look up to that same kind of woman. You know what I'm saying? They aspire to be on these TV shows. You know, a lot of these Eves try to see just how wicked they could be. And it's full of madness, man. But with that being said, I have to go into the mighty women of the Bible, man. Right. And there's so many to choose from, man. You know what I'm saying? So I got to go to one of my favorites, which is 2 Samuel, chapter 20 and 16. Right. And I'm going to start at verse 1 for the context of it all. But mind you, that they don't even mention this woman's name. There's so many examples that our women could look to, you know, and how to be, you know, shamefaced in this truth, how to walk uprightly, how to have integrity, you know what I'm saying, how to be modest, you know. But, you know, we seeing all types of wickedness and evil come about, you know what I'm saying, in these last days. And this is why the Most High has, you know, dedicated whole chapters to Eve for the last days. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of Eves, their minds is not right. You know what I'm saying? As far as their position in their roles. And everybody has to play their role. And it's not just the women, but the men as well. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's not meant to be a profound teacher. Everybody's not at 100-fold level teaching. I'm not at 100-fold. There's brothers out here that are. You know what I'm saying? But everybody has a specific role and duty to play in this truth. And you're supposed to maximize your talent to the best that you can. You know what I'm saying? We all have a certain pinnacle that we can reach in this truth that the Most High has laid out. You know, and furthermore, you get into these precepts, man, you understand, you know, they said, hey, the greatest amongst men is going to be like, I'm loosely paraphrasing, you know what I'm saying? But the greatest man amongst us is supposed to be like a servant. You know what I'm saying? And the least amongst us is going to be treated like John the Baptist in the kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of mentality that, you know, we all got to carry ourselves as we're servants and brothers and sisters to everybody, no matter the stature in which they have, you know, be it in this world or, you know, when it comes to this kingdom. You know what I'm saying? Only the Most High is going to reveal those things in due season. So this is 2 Samuel chapter 20. And I'm going to start at verse 1 for context, and I'm going to drop down, right? It talks about this wise woman. She was a mighty sister in the spirit, man. So check this out. 2 Samuel chapter 20 and verse 1. And there happened to be there a man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, the son of Bichri, a Benjamite. And he blew a trumpet and said, we have no part in David, neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. Every man to his tent, O Israel. So you had a brother from the tribe of Benjamin who kind of led a revolt against David. And, you know, he made the proclamation, you know, O Israel, you know, we have no part in David. You know, so we're going to depart, you know, every man to his tent. We're not, you know, dealing with him. We're not being under his rulership, none of that. Right. So you had rebellious man, you know, various times, you know, David's own family members rose up against him. But nonetheless, this was this Benjamite. And I'm going to drop down because they eventually all, you know, left. So we're going to see what happened. Right. I'm going to drop down to verse. Oh, so Salaki, I'm gonna just keep reading for a little bit more. Verse 2. So every man of Israel went up from after David and followed Sheba, the son of Bichri. But the men of Judah clave unto their king, for Jordan even to Jerusalem, from Jordan even to Jerusalem. So the tribe of Judah was around this time. They was the only ones that continued to ride with David. You know what I'm saying? So verse 3. And David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king took the 10 women, his concubines, whom he had left to keep the house, and put them inward and fed them, but went not in unto them. So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood. So David cut off his concubines. It said he had 10 of them. Now, this was all symbolic for the cutting off of the northern kingdom, because that's the whole reason why I mentioned 10. And eventually, after David's death, after Solomon's death, through Rehoboam, that's when the tribes was split in two, right? 2 nations. So, but that's what that was symbolic for, right? So I'm going to show what David said, and then I'm going to drop down. Verse 6, and David said to Abishai, now shall Sheba the son of Bichri do us more harm than did Absalom. Take thou thy Lord's servants and pursue after him, lest he get him fenced cities and escape us. And there went out after him Joab's men and the Sherethites and the Pelethites and all the mighty men, and they went out of Jerusalem to pursue after Sheba the son of Bichri. Right. So David's men, his soldiers, went after Bichri, went after the Benjamite brother who was leading the revolt against David. And David was like, hey, look, we need to hurry up and, you know, capture this guy before he build them fenced cities. And, you know, and they, you know, are better prepared at going to war than they are right now being on the run. Right. So I'm going to drop down verse. So once they got, I'm going to drop down verse 15. And they came and besieged him in Abel of Beth Maacah, and they cast up a bank against the city, and it stood in the trench, and all the people that were with Joab battered the wall to throw it down. Then, so they surrounded, you know, they said, and they came and besieged him in Abel and Beth Maacah, and they cast him up. So so they surrounded the city, and they, you know, they was pretty much circling them so that he couldn't escape. It was no way out for him. And this is again talking about Bichri of the tribe of Benjamin, right? So, and in verse 16 it says, then cried a wise woman out of the city, hear, hear, say I pray you unto Joab, come near hither that I may speak with thee. So it says a wise woman came out and said, hear, hear. That's Shemai in Hebrew, right? So now it's talking about this particular woman right here. It's not naming who she is, you know, it's not naming who she is, but it's saying she was a wise woman, right? Because even though she was a part of the group that left and revolted against David, I mean, in all likelihood, whatever, we come from a nation of tribes, you know what I'm saying? So you're going to roll with whoever your group is, whoever your people is, you're going to rock with them, whatever they choose to do. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to keep reading though. Verse 17. But Salaki, but that's not to say she wasn't a wise woman, right? because the Bible is clearly indicating her as being such. Verse 17, and when he was come near unto her, the woman said, art thou Joab? And he answered, I am he. Then she said unto him, hear the words of thine handmaid. And he answered, I do hear. Then she spake, saying, they were wont to speak in old times, saying, they shall surely ask counsel at Abel. And so they ended the matter. I am one of them that are peaceable and faithful in Israel. Thou seekest to destroy a city and a mother in Israel. Why wilt thou swallow up the inheritance of the Lord? Right? So she's saying to Joab, David's right-hand man, look, hey, look, you're going to destroy a whole city in Israel. A mother, look, we as being the northern kingdom, because that's what most of the tribes that left, they were the ones that, kind of dipped out along with Benjamin. She said, you're going to destroy a mother in Israel. We have just as much inheritance in this, with the Most High as you do. You know what I'm saying? So don't, destroy all of us when ultimately, we were made to receive of the blessings and the promises that you have as well. So she's, as an elder woman, right, giving off, game to Joab, and, showing him that she is very knowledgeable as it pertains to, her inheritance. You know what I'm saying? While you have Bichri with the evil spirit on him, we call him a man of Belial. You know what I'm saying? That's talking about a man of wickedness, a man of evil, right? So it says, verse 20, and Joab answered and said, far be it from me that I should swallow up or destroy. The matter is not so, but a man of Mount Ephraim, Sheba, the son of Bichri by name, have lifted up his hand against the king, even against David. Deliver him only, and I will depart from the city. And the woman said unto Joab, behold, his head shall be thrown to thee over the wall. Then the woman went unto all the people in her wisdom, and they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri, and cast it out to Joab. And he blew a trumpet, and they retired from the city, every man to his tent, and Joab returned to Jerusalem unto the king. Right? So you see what the sister did right here. It said, and one more time, verse 22, then the woman went unto all the people in her wisdom, and they cut off the head of Sheba, the son of Bichri. So, she kind of showed that she was very, business savvy, you know what I'm saying, in terms of, conversation, intellectual. She showed, because there's a term that Esau used when, what's that? What's the term that Esau uses when you in, it's like a heated exchange. I guess almost in a political sense. I forget the term that they used, but nonetheless, she shows that she's very articulate. She's the one that stepped up and said, look, we're going to send Bichri's head. We're going to throw it to thee over the wall, man. You know what I'm saying? If that's all you want, hey, we're going to give it to you. We're going to make sure that, hey, look, they're going to chop his head off, do what they got to do to him. Hey, this was a mighty sister right here, man. You know what I'm saying? So not, our women have to, exhibit behavior as being wise. These are the examples that our women should be looking to, not the baddies, not the, the baddies West, whatever the shows they got, the Christian Rocks and all of these Wicked Eves that's being, promoted all on the social media and on TV and all these, apps and everything. These are the women that our sisters are to be should be looking up to, right? So again, we see, and that was it on her. So it just pretty much spoke of her as being a wise woman, right? Because look, again, she was talking in the midst of warriors, David's soldiers, you know what I'm saying? Killers in righteousness, dudes that was not afraid to catch bodies. And that's what their whole mission was to come over there and kill whoever is going to, be in opposition of David. But she stood up as a mighty wise woman and, was able to articulate herself, over a serious matter. You know what I'm saying? So in that regard, you got to commend the sister that's, that has that kind of wisdom and that kind of has that kind of spirit on her. That shows that the Most High put a certain spirit on her, right? So let me go ahead and get there's so many examples for us to look to. But let me go ahead and get let me stay in Samuel, actually. Stay in Samuel. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 1. and I'm gonna get verse 1. And I'm gonna just keep dropping down little by little. And I'm gonna get a few more. I didn't want to stay too long on this. Probably do another lesson real soon. So this is First Samuel chapter 1, and I'm gonna start at verse 2. And he had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. And this man went up out of the city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto the Lord of hosts in Shiloh. And the 2 sons of Eli and Hophni and Phinehas and the priest of the Lord were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but the Lord had shut up her womb. So this is talking about Elkanah and his 2 wives, right? And Elkanah is the father of Samuel, right? He had 2 wives. Peninnah said she had kids, gave them portions when it was time for the offering. But Hannah, she didn't have any children. So he gave her, a worthy portion, meaning he gave her more, he gave her the best, you know what I'm saying? Because, she was barren. She wasn't able to have children. Her womb was shut up at the specific time, right? And it was very important for our sisters back in those days. You know what I'm saying? That's what they were more in spirit, in tune with the spirit of the Most High, because they understood and they cherished life and being able to be a vital part in giving life. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to our women today, they have a mindset like, I'm gonna wait till I'm older. A lot of Eves we do all know that had kids at an early age, but a lot of us grew up misguided, you know what I'm saying, and kind of, loose and out there in the streets. You know what I'm saying? But then you have the other Eves that are, more of the mindset, I'm gonna wait till I get older, this and that. Got the Eves that got the multiple baby daddies, so on and so forth. But again, in ancient times, our women was proud, you know what I'm saying, to give life, to play a vital role in doing so. You know what I'm saying? So, and Hannah, she was so, kind of vexed, because obviously, I mean, if you're not able to have kids, you kind of looked at kind of sideways. You know what I'm saying? Why, the Most High shut up your womb, you got other sisters talking about her, and then we're going to see that as we keep reading though. This is verse 6. And her adversary also provoked her sore for to make her fret, because the Lord had shut up her womb. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Lord, so she provoked her, and therefore she wept and did not eat. Right. So there was times in which, she was so vexed and, in spirit that she just, she wasn't eating or anything like that. So this is how serious it was for our women to bear children, to give seed. You know what I'm saying? And actually, First Timothy talks about that real fast. Let me get that real quick. First Timothy chapter 5. I think this is what I want. First Timothy chapter 5, and I'm gonna start at 13. And withal they learn to be idle, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also, and busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. And that's the women of today. You know what I'm saying? Very much so. It says, again, and withal they learn to be idle. A lot of our Eves in this system, in this society, they don't utilize their time well. They spend it on, frivolous things, things that are unprofitable, things that are not going to help build their spirit up. And it says, wandering about from house to house, and not only idle, but tattlers also. Everybody got a damn microphone and, got the podcast spirit on. A lot of these Eves is like, what's that sip wine? What's the girl that got, she got a case on from Cardi for talking ill or, putting out false information. But being tattlers as well, busybodies, speaking things which they ought not. That's what the scriptures just said, right? And that's the modern woman of today in this Western system, right? Verse 14, I will therefore that the younger women marry, bear children, guide the house, give none occasion to the adversary to speak reproachfully. For some are already turned aside after Satan, right? So again, we see what the scripture said when we go to Timothy. You know the Most High says, I would also that the younger woman marry, bear children. Yeah, that's right. Brother had it. Her sister, Terry Jacobs, Tasha K. She got the case from Cardi. But nonetheless, the Most High said, I would, also that the younger woman marry, bear children, guide the house. These are all of the, attributes or, the goals that our women should have in mind. You know what I'm saying? And then we see Hannah, she just had the spirit on her to want to have children. You know what I'm saying? She understood how much of a blessing it was, but we're going to see what she prayed for and what the Most High eventually, did for her. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to keep going. So she eventually went to see the chief priest, which was Eli at the time. Let me see. I'm going to drop down. Verse 12. And it came to pass as she continued praying before the Lord that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. And Eli said unto her, How long wilt thou be drunken, and put away thy wine from thee? And Hannah answered and said, No, my Lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thine handmaid for a daughter of Belial. For out of the abundance of mine complaint and grief have I spoken hitherto. Then Eli answered and said, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And she said, Let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. Right? So I want to drop down where I think it kind of, 1 second, let me see. Oh yeah, I'm going to keep reading. Verse 19, and they rose up in the morning early and worshiped before the Lord and returned and came to their house to Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah, his wife, and the Lord remembered her. So at this particular time, Elkanah lay with Hannah, his wife, and the Most High, then, it says he uses the phrase, he remembered her, but meaning he was going to, it was pretty much set in his will for her to conceive that child at this particular time. Because nothing is on our own time. We might want certain things to happen, but the Most High, he has a reason for why he does things the way he chooses. You know what I'm saying? So verse 20, wherefore it came to pass when the time was come about, after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son and called his name Samuel, saying, Because I have asked him of the Lord. And the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer unto the Lord the yearly sacrifice in his vow. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned, and then I will bring him that he may appear before the Lord and there abide forever. Right? So that was her prayer unto the Most High. Oh yeah, and see, and I didn't read that part earlier in the verse. I'm gonna get it in a minute. But she prayed that if the Most High allowed her to have a baby, that she would, pretty much offer up the child as being pretty much not a sacrifice, but an offering, like a servant offering. He's going to just, worship you all the days of his life. If I'm not mistaken, he was a Nazarite. If I'm not mistaken, right? And I'm gonna see real fast. I'm gonna go back up. This is 1 Samuel chapter 1 and verse 11. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but wilt give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. And it came to pass as she continued praying before the Lord that Eli marked her mouth. So yeah, that was a part that I had skipped earlier. But nonetheless, that's what she prayed for. She said, Most High, if you, remember your handmaid, look upon my affliction, I will give my son up to you all the days of his life. So yeah, he was a Nazarite, according to, Numbers chapter 6. When you read that chapter, you see all of the things that comes with being a Nazarite and making those types of vows. So, she went through all of that year by year, being reproached, being, looked at sideways, for not bearing any children. Like I said, that was like, kind of frowned upon if a woman didn't have children, by, certain time frames or whatever, or in their adulthood and everything. So, but the Most High remembered her. She was a dedicated woman. She gave herself unto prayer. She gave herself unto fasting. She gave herself unto, worship, and the Most High remembered her. You know what I'm saying? And eventually what? She bore Samuel. Samuel was one of the most mighty men in the Bible. Out of all the children that the other Elkanah's other rib had, none of them was as mighty as Samuel. None of them. So, at the end of the day, the Most High looked upon her affliction. He's seen how one dedication, you know what I'm saying? He's seen the worship, he's seen the praise that she gave him. And he's seen even through your trials and afflictions, where her faith, resided at. And it was always in the Most High. You know what I'm saying? So these are, the attributes in which our women should be looking towards, right? So I'm going to get another one, man. This is a mighty one right here. This is Proverbs chapter 31 in verse 1. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What, my son, and what? The son of my womb, and what? The son of my vows. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel, it is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted. Right, so I have to point this particular scripture out of King Lemuel, as it talks about, and it doesn't really specify on his lineage and everything and who he exactly was. But nonetheless, it's more so about what his mom taught him. You know what I'm saying? It's more so about that. Because, as a woman, you should, be instructing, your children. And if you just, say like for, instance, in this particular few verses, saying she's instructing her son, give not your strength unto women. Because look, I know women in this society that, I grew up with or know personally, I have known personally in my life that, they just got an off mentality when it comes to, everything, especially with this truth. Not so much that I've had, I'm conversating with them about the truth, but there's this one girl that I knew in times past that, I'm telling her about everything that, I would want my son to do and or not do, not dealing with Edomite women. And, not pretty much what she just told her son is not giving her strength. And what's giving your strength to women? I mean, some dudes go all out when they, meet a woman. They throw their damn inheritance at her, man. That's wild, man. You know what I'm saying? So, because First Esdras 4 talks about that. First Esdras 4 talks about everything that, some men lose their wits for women. Many men have lost their wits over women and have perished because of that. You know what I'm saying? So, she's giving her son game. She's, quote unquote, lacing her son's tennis shoes. So he's not stumbling and tripping and falling, over the women of this world. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these women are enticing. So that's how women should be. And mothers to their sons, that's how you should be. You know what I'm saying? Because, again, going back to that conversation that I had with this woman, she was everything opposite of what, women was like in ancient history, the women of this Bible. Because she was like, she made the statement, I never deal with a California nigga again. Because, we grew up having a little different mentality, you know what I'm saying, out here. So she's like, I only deal with dudes from the South. Why? Because she said niggas from the South trick. You know what I'm saying? They throw money at women. You know what I'm saying? And look, I hate to put it that way, but this is what she said. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it kind of it's I see where she's coming from on one end, but at the same time, I mean, brothers that lead with money, that's all these women are going to expect. So, you know what I'm saying? It's it's a double-edged sword, really, at the end of the day. You shouldn't be leading with money. You know what I'm saying? And if that's all it takes, if that's what you're using to get these women, I mean, what kind of character do you truly possess? You know what I'm saying? If all you're using is bread to get money, you don't really possess no true traits of a real man. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not what's going to keep her. That's for damn sure. That's definitely not what's going to keep her. I'm gonna read this one more time though. Proverbs chapter 31 and verse 3. Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. Is it not for kings, O Lemuel? Is it not for kings to drink wine? It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink. So, that's a twofold level of wisdom. Like the scriptures say in Job 11 and 6, wisdom is double fold. So it's also going into, doctrine, because women, wine, all those things could be doctrine as well. You know what I'm saying? So don't give yourself to strong drink. Don't give yourself to women. Don't give yourself to false doctrines and heresies and things that are not, becometh of a saint of the Most High, right? So it's definitely more. There's so many that we can make mention of. Second Maccabees, chapter 7, the mother that, kind of watched her sons, get killed, murdered by the Greeks, by the heathens, by the Edomites. And she was encouraging each and every one of them, during that whole time span. And then, but I'm gonna get a few more though. So I'm gonna go to Matthew chapter 20 real fast. Matthew chapter 20, and I have to get this E as well. So we know all of the more popular ones, Mary, Sarah, and other women alike. But I wanted to get some of the ones that was not truly that as known, right? Or that's not mentioned. So this is Matthew chapter 20 and verse 20. Then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And she said unto her, and he said unto her, what wilt thou? She saith unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on the left in thy kingdom. But Yahushua answered and said, ye know not what ye ask. Are ye able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with? They say unto him, we are able. He saith unto them, ye shall drink indeed of my cup, and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with, but to sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared of my Father. Right? So, this is a mighty sister right here who brought her two sons unto Yahushua. And she wanted both of them to be present with him, to follow him in all his works, and to, obviously, like she said, be with him in the kingdom, one on thy left and one on thy right. But Yahushua said, you know what you speak of, because I'm going to just show you what he meant by that, because the right hand and the left hand is symbolic, right? So I'm going to go to Ecclesiastes chapter 10 real fast to show a little bit of the right hand and the left hand, spiritually speaking. So this is Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 2. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart at his left, right? So, the right hand side is the side of righteousness, and the left hand is the evil side. You know what I'm saying? So when Yahushua made the statement, ye know not what ye ask, he was just saying, because also in Matthew 25 and 31, it says his sheep is going to be on his right hand side, and the goats is going to be on the left hand side. And all of those goats, they're going to get destroyed and or put in captivity. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely want to make sure that you're on the right hand side of righteousness in that day and in that hour. And especially when the kingdom comes and we all presented before Yahushua and he's separating all nations. You know what I'm saying? So, but nonetheless, the fact that she brought her two sons to Yahushua shows, again, dedication, and shows how she wanted her son so bad to possess those same qualities and attributes that Yahushua had, because she knew he was the king. She believed that, she had faith, and this is what she wanted her sons to follow. You know what I'm saying? She didn't want them to be no damn gladiators. She didn't want them, to get famous, you know what I'm saying? Or you could, related to today's time, be like LeBron James, or, be like Derrick Henry, breaking records, shattering records. No, that wasn't her desires. And we know we have a lot of Eves that, can't wait to put their sons in sports and, hopes they make it and, and have that kind of mindset and spirit. No, you know what I'm saying? This is how our women should be. This is the mindset that our women should carry. You know what I'm saying? So this was a mighty sister right here. I'm going to go to another one. Well, I'll just, tell y'all to read some of them. We know Judges with Deborah. You can read that in Judges chapter 5 and verse 7, in which she is called a mother in Israel. You know what I'm saying? But one thing people get misconstrued with Deborah is that, oh, she's a judge, so therefore, women can sit as judges next to men and we can do this and do that. No, Deborah was married. Deborah respected her husband. Deborah never got out of order. Deborah was submissive to her husband. You know what I'm saying? This is what a lot of people forget and a lot of Eves forget. You know what I'm saying? So she respected everything that was written in regards to what? The law of the Most High. And like I said, in Judges chapter 5 and verse 7, it gave it a title of being a mother in Israel. Because a lot of women do possess that trait of, sometimes you'll meet women, older women, and they like a motherly figure to you off the bat as soon as you meet them. You know what I'm saying? They command a certain level of respect when you meet them. You know what I'm saying? They automatically, they see something that they can lace you on. You know what I'm saying, or game you up on, they let you know right away. No, this ain't how you do that. Let me show you how you do this. You know what I'm saying? Or, ask you to, the right question to pry something up out of you. And she's inquiring on something, and then she's able to expose something in you that's not perfected. And she'll be able to perfect that from you. I knew a brother whose mom was like that, a brother by the name of Don Yala with the former camp that I was with. His mom's was like that. She was a mighty sister to me. You know what I'm saying? She definitely had, a spirit of a lot of ancient women that, we read about in the scriptures. I met another sister like that. She used to drive the buses in the city in LA, and would always stop in San Pedro. Her name was Success. She used to roll with Khalid Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? And those brothers back in those times. You know what I'm saying? She was a mighty sister, always dropping gems. Always dropping game. You know what I'm saying? So again, this is how and like I said, going back to Deborah, calling her a mother in Israel, she had that motherly spirit. You know what I'm saying? To be able to, provide and pretty much have you be a sponge to receive all of the knowledge that she knows. You know what I'm saying? And that's how our women should be. Again, I'm gonna just keep reiterating these same things. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be encouraged in these times, because, our women, you got spirits that you fighting every day too. We always hearing about, brothers arguing with their wives, brothers, sisters going off here and there, families separating, taking the kids, hiding the kids, not letting you see them months on end. You know what I'm saying? And the Most High, and it started with Adam and Eve. We see where Satan kind of attacked Eve, the weaker vessel. He's going to do that. But you, as a woman, you got to be able to recognize when the enemy is trying to bring division within the house. So we're getting closer and closer to the hour of temptation. So whatever, the temptation is and the battles that we have, we got to be able to examine it, spot it, sift it, rebuke it, you know what I'm saying, and keep it pushing. So this is the mentality that, everybody has to have in the last days, man. So I'm gonna go to Luke chapter 2. Let me get Luke chapter 2. I gotta get Anna. Go to Anna. Luke chapter 2 and verse 36. It says, and there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of a great age and had lived with an husband 7 years from her virginity. So it says Anna was a prophetess, the daughter of Phanuel of the tribe of Asher. She was of the northern kingdom. You know what I'm saying? So verse 37, she was a widow of about 84 years. So that a score is 20. So 80. She was 80. And it says, and she was a widow of about 84 years. So she was 84 years old. But it says she was a widow for that long. You know what I'm saying? It says, which departed not from the temple, but served God with fastings and prayers night and day. Right? So we see a lot of the women that's being mentioned, a lot of the women that's being given flowers, you know what I'm saying, metaphorically speaking, they were women who fasted often. They were women who fasted. They were women who prayed. They were women who was constantly going to the temple. In this case, I mean, you constantly, going to, get lessons, you know what I'm saying? But, and it may be hard for some women to fast when taking care of the household and doing, certain duties, taking care of the kids, taking them everywhere, be it, dentistry, whatever the case may be, hospitals, grocery store shopping, whatever the case may be. But you got to make time for it. You know what I'm saying? You can do half day fasts, but these things are important. Again, Anna, called Anna a prophetess. She prophesied about Yahushua. But one thing again that it made mention of was that she departed not from the temple. Her mind was always fixated on serving the Most High and worshiping and praising the Most High. And then it says, but serve God with fastings and prayers night and day. And she coming in that instant gave thanks likewise unto the Lord, and spake of him to all them that looked for redemption in Jerusalem. So she encouraged everybody because she knew that Yahushua was on his way. You know what I'm saying? The Redeemer of the people, the Redeemer of the nation. You know what I'm saying? And it says she spake to all them that was looking for redemption in Jerusalem. So that also has to kind of be the mentality and the mindset of our women in these last days, right? I do have to go. I do have somewhere to be, but I'm gonna get just a couple more precepts real fast. I'm gonna get Esther, editions of Esther. Salakia, bear with me. Editions of Esther. I'm gonna get chapter 14 and I'm gonna get verse 1. It says, Queen Esther, also being in fear of death, resorted unto the Lord, and laid away her glorious apparel, and put on the garments of anguish and mourning. And instead of precious ointments, she covered her head with ashes and dung. And she humbled her body greatly, and all the places of her joy she filled with her torn hair. And she prayed unto the Lord God of Israel, saying, O my Lord, thou only art our king. Help me, desolate woman, which have no helper but thee. For my danger is in mine hand. From my youth up I have heard in the tribe of my family that thou, O Lord, tookest Israel from among all people, and our fathers from all their predecessors for a perpetual inheritance, and thou hast performed whatsoever thou didst promise to them. Salakia. And now we have sinned before thee, therefore thou hast given us into the hands of our enemies, because we worship their gods, O Lord, thou art righteous. Nevertheless, it satisfies them not that we are in bitter captivity, but they have stricken hands with their idols. I guess I don't know if I passed that part where I think I did. So she looked at it as dung. Now there's another one, another precept that it's probably in chapter 10 for real. So Lucky, bear with me real fast. Let me see if I can find it real fast. 12. Nope. Man. Salakia. Bear with me. I know it's right here. It's right in this area. And I'm missing it. All right, but no, I could just manage with this one. So this chapter 14 and verse 1 or verse 2 one more time. And laid away her glorious apparel and put on the garments of anguish and mourning. And instead of precious ointment, she covered her head with ashes and dung, and she humbled her body greatly. Right. So Esther, during the time of the Persians and everything, she had a mighty position. You know what I'm saying? She had a mighty office as being the queen of Persia. You know what I'm saying? But she was also given kind of that position so that she can, have a position to deliver Israel. And that's what she did. And even though she had that position, how many Eves today would be in Esther's position, being the queen, any damn way, given all this precious ointments, smell goods, perfumes, all these nice clothes, you know what I'm saying? Everything of your heart's desire, to make yourself, to enhance your beauty, whatever the case may be, you got it at your fingertips. And you cast it away and you look at it all as dung. because you're thinking about your people. You humbling yourself for your people. You putting dung on your head for your people because you're in mourning for the oppression of your people. How many Eves would do that today? I don't know. I don't know a lot of Eves that would do that today. But this is the spirit, again, that Esther had. You know what I'm saying? So these are the honorable and mighty women of the Bible right here, man. So it's more to it than just that. But I gotta go to Judith. I'm gonna close it out with Judith real fast. And again, there's so many more you can read. You can read matter of fact, yeah, I'm gonna go to Judith real fast. Judith chapter 16, and I'm going to get verse Judith Salaki, bear with me. Let me get there. Judith 16 and verse 10. And it says, the Persians quaked at her. Is that what I want? No. I'll start a little later than that. This is Judith 16 and verse 13. I will sing unto the Lord a new song. O Lord, thou art great and glorious, wonderful in strength and invincible. Let all creatures serve thee, for thou spakest, and they were made. Thou didst send forth thy spirit, and it created them. And there is none that can resist thy voice. For the mountains shall be moved from their foundations with the waters. The rock shall melt as wax at thy presence. Yet thou art merciful to them that fear thee. For all sacrifice is too little for a sweet Savior unto thee, and all the fat is not sufficient for thy burnt offering. But he that feareth the Lord is great at all times. So here you have Judith. She's making psalms. She's making songs for the Most High. It also talks about in Judith chapter 8 that nobody had an ill thing to say of Judith. Nobody had nothing negative to say about Judith. You know, she was a woman of righteousness, man. She was a widow at one point her husband passed. She was very beautiful, you know what I'm saying? But even, with all of that, she had a mighty spirit upon her to serve the Most High and put him on the forefront. And, the Most High uplifted her, man, and gave her a name of recognition for, many generations to come. That's why we're talking about her now. But ultimately, this is the mind that she had right here, verse 17. Woe to the nations that rise up against my kindred. The Lord Almighty will take vengeance of them in the day of judgment and putting fire and worms in their flesh. And they shall feel them and weep forever. Now, as soon as they entered into Jerusalem, they worshiped the Lord. And as soon as the people were purified, they offered their burnt offerings and their free offerings and their gifts. Judith also dedicated all the stuff of Holofernes, which the people had given her, and gave the canopy which she had taken out of his bedchamber for a gift unto the Lord. So the people continued feasting in Jerusalem before the sanctuary for the space of 3 months, and Judith remained in them. After this time, everyone returned to his own inheritance. And Judith went to Bethulia and remained in her own possession and was in her time honorable in all the country. So it says, and many desired her, but none knew her all the days of her life. After that, Manasseh, her husband, was dead and was gathered to his people. But she increased more and more in honor and waxed old in her husband's house, being 105 years old, and made her maid free. So she died in Bethulia, and they buried her in the cave of her husband Manasseh. And the house of Israel lamented her 7 days. And before she died, and she did distribute her goods to all them that are nearest of kindred to Manasseh her husband, and to them that were the nearest of her kindred. And there was none that made the children of Israel any more afraid in the days of Judith, nor a long time after her death. So the key thing I wanted to bring from that was that it said that she increased more and more in honor. You know what I'm saying? So again, these are some of the honorable women that's not talked about enough. And these are the honorable women that our women of today here in wherever they are, all Israelite women scattered abroad. A lot of y'all are here in the Americas. Got to get your mind right. We living in the last days, man. With that, I'm going to bid everybody a shalom, man. Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, Barak Atham. Shalom.